Ellen, it was always recording, so you're gonna have to edit that part. Hey everyone, welcome. We are so glad that you are here with us today. We're gonna get started. I am Lamecca, Director of the East Flatbush Community Partnership. And we have an exciting lineup for you all today. Before we get started, this is very random, but if you're new here, could you please unmute yourself and just introduce yourself? Those of you who are on Zoom, if this is your first time, feel free to unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello, my name is Angelina Smith. I am here today from the Department of Health's Public Health Clinics, where we've got 6 different locations that anybody could walk in any day and offer low to no cost sexual health care, immunizations, and tuberculosis care. And so I was just coming and introducing myself, letting you guys know about our services, and hearing about what you guys are up to. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. I appreciate you coming in. So is there anyone else that's new, first time attending our meeting? If so, feel free to unmute. We are going to have some time at the end to do full program updates. So for now, you can just tell us your name and where you're from.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Diamond Acevedo. I may have joined this meeting before, but if not, I work with the Family Assessment Program. I have a few of my colleagues here. We also are the PINS Diversion Program, so we support families with service referrals and supporting them and collaborating with their current providers. So if you have further questions, you can reach out to any of us.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else new? We have time for one more person. First time being here. We would love to say hello. Yes, so let me turn it over. We have someone in person who would like to introduce themselves. Go ahead. Here with Rose Pardo from JC. Thank you. Welcome. Now, did you guys hear her?
Sadly, no.
No. Okay. So speakers, when it's your time, I'm just going to need you to come up here. Okay, great. All right. So we're going to get started. Thank you everyone for your patience. Cindy, go to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to have our program updates. We're going to hear from Christy Ford from JCCA. We're going to hear from Ruth Horry from NYC Health and Hospitals, Kings County specifically. We're going to hear from Lauren Glassman Shore, as well as Pichardo. How do you pronounce the last name? Say it again. Oh, it's reversed. How do you pronounce your first name? Rosalisi. Thank you. Thank you. Both with JCCA, and then we're going to have a session from Dr. Brett Scudder, and then we're going to end off with our program updates. I appreciate you all for being here. So I'm going to pass it over to Melissa. She is going to, Melissa, you're going to have to come up here. Whoever's speaking, you guys are going to have to come up here because it's going to give the feedback. Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So yes. Presentation.
But you gotta switch your side. Yeah.
So yes, so welcome everyone. We just want to remind you guys just about our weekly newsletter. So you can send events, flyers to Sydney. Email is readc@jccany.org. If you guys have any community events or resources coming up. We also have a monthly meeting. So we have a presenters forum for that. So you or your organization would like to talk about what you do, the resources that you help the community with. We would love for you guys to do a presentation as well. And also our monthly in-person attendance form, right? So if you guys haven't done so already, that little QR code is where you go to sign on in. So we just want to make sure we have everyone accounted for on the meeting, just so we keep a track of who's on the call, okay?
Yes, please. And everyone here today in person, please scan the code so we can take your attendance as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's in the chat as well.
Got it. QR code save lives. Okay, so
Sorry. Ruth, would you able to get the?
Mhm. Yes.
awesome. So in regards to our website, this is East Flatbush Community Partnership website. So if you just want to get more information about the organization, who we are, what we do, and also how we help the community, you can log on at eastflatbushpartnership.org. So our monthly general meeting, which is what's going on today, is going to be on the fourth Thursday, right? So the fourth Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m. And if you're coming in person, we would love to see you. It's going to be at My Time Inc., which is located at 640 Parkside Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Now, our virtual open door meeting is every second Thursday of each month, right? So it's virtual. You can log on as well. We talk about local resources, learning opportunities, community network, different things like that. So if you want more information, you could also take a picture of that QR code on the bottom left of the flyer. We hope to see you at that virtual open door meeting as well.
Thank you.
Pass the bets.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Cindy here with the partnership sharing the past events. Sorry. So we recently ended October with the annual breast health panel. This was a successful event with well received by the community. Participants enjoyed free hand massages and a great panel with medical professionals and strong testimonies as well. That was on October 29th in partnership with One Brooklyn Health and Advocacy by Advocates. We also hosted a Understanding Autism, Building Empathy, Awareness, and Connection workshop. This was in collaboration with Love and Kindness Wellness Services, My Time Inc., and also Autism Support Solution, and also with Real. This workshop provided insight on how to bridge the gap between general population students and special needs students. It was a great presentation and the families that came out to join us that day. We also hosted our annual senior appreciation. This was in collaboration with Glenwood Senior Center, also with Always Fit for Life, and what was the last one? Sorry. Health and Wellness Services. This day was great. The seniors are still talking about it. They enjoyed a great workout session that was provided by Nikisha Smith, the founder of Always Fit for Life. Health screenings, free health screenings, and facials and massages. So we are in collaboration with Flatlands Reformed Church, doing an emergency food drive. If you have any perishables in your cabinet, home, whatever that you are willing to share with the community, we encourage you to drop them off at the location, which is 3931 Kings Highway. And you can drop it off between the hours of 10 and 1 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. One of my favorites is the Gingerbread House Decorating Party. This is the Saturday, December 6th, in collaboration with Zoe Chic, Real, Sesame Flyers International, and Arts and Public Speaking Program. It's a day where the kids get their own kit, build their own house. There's hot cocoa. It's a nice, fun time. So share it with the family so they can come and join us. We also have our Christmas toy giveaway in collaboration with Flatlands Reformed Church, Flatlands Community Partnership, the 63rd Precinct, and the Border Control. This is a great event. The kids get to pick their own toys. We have hot cocoa, and I always say done the right way. They get to make s'mores. They get to decorate their own gingerbread man, and we also have arts and craft and food. It's a real nice, fun time for families, so we encourage families to come out. This is on December 20th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 3931 Kings Highway. And I can't believe it, but it's the end of the year of 2025 is coming up. We have our end of year dinner party on December 18th we have a wait list already. So if you want to sign up, you can. You don't know if someone's gonna fall out because oftentimes people sign up and don't attend. So put your name on the list and you may be selected, be able to still come. So again, that's on December 18th from 6:30 to 8:30. It's gonna be at Bamboo Walk Caribbean restaurant. From what we saw online, it looks really good. Located at 1343 Utica Avenue.
And just a reminder, for those of you who are just now coming in, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know if you are a resident of East Flatbush or if you are a service provider. If you are a service provider, please let us know which organization you are representing. So we're gonna pass things off. Is Christy? It's Christy? Yeah. Okay. Oh, hi, Christy. Okay, Christy, you can come on up here and Ellen's gonna introduce you, okay? Okay. Yes. Yes. Right, either.
Hello, everyone. Adeline is here, so we will be starting off with our first presenter. Her name is Christy Ford. She is from JCCA. She is a health home outreach. Intake, right? We need to change the slide. All right, so we'll start off with our first presenter. A round of applause. That's our.
So I sit in front of this one?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okie dokie. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christy. Oh, okay, perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christy Ford. I am one of the intake coordinators from the JCCA Health Home Office. We do also have an office in the Bronx, but I primarily work in Brooklyn. And today I am going to explain the Health Home program. So what is Health Home? Health Home is a care coordination program. We provide community supportive services to children who have behavioral health needs, medical needs, developmental disabilities, and so on. In addition, we also help parents manage the health of their children if they are interested in applying for different resources, which has to do with applying for housing, applying for any benefits such as Social Security, food stamps, things like that. We're able to assist the family with those things as well. I jumped the gun. But yeah, similar to what I was just saying before. So we just provide extra support, helping the family coordinate services for the children. In addition, we do provide advocacy during IEP meetings. So we have a lot of children who are in special education and have active IEPs. So if you need someone to attend, on your behalf or just participate, we do that as well, and advocate on the needs of the child. We do a lot of collaboration work with all the providers involved. So if there is ACS involvement, foster care involvement, preventive involvement, we're basically collaborating with everyone involved to make sure that we're all working on, the same needs of the child, and just making sure that we're on top of things. No, that's fine. That's complete. You could go to the next slide. And here are the eligibility requirements. So in order to be eligible for health homes, first off, the child must have active Medicaid. If the child does not have Medicaid, they cannot be enrolled in the health home program. They must either have an SED diagnosis, which stands for serious emotional disturbance. So what falls under that criteria is ADHD, depression, anxiety disorder, just to name a few of them. If the child doesn't have that, but they have another diagnosis, we can qualify them. We can find them eligible through 2 chronic conditions. So what that means is if the child has any chronic medical conditions, asthma, epilepsy, children who have obesity, children who have sickle cell, mumbling my words, Children who have sickle cell also qualify as well. I also want to mention that children who have autism would fall under this criteria as well. If you happen to refer a child who just has autism, they're not eligible for health homes because it only counts as one developmental diagnosis. So they would need a secondary diagnosis in order to be eligible for the program. So for example, if you have a child who is diagnosed with autism and obesity, they qualify. If they have autism and ADHD, they qualify. Autism and asthma, they qualify. I often find, a lot of kids who are referred to us with a secondary diagnosis. So it always seems to work out. Complex trauma. So if a child doesn't have any of the ones that I just mentioned, complex trauma is also a way to be eligible for health homes. So our children often experience different traumas throughout their childhood. So exposure to domestic violence, they've witnessed something horrific during their childhood, children who have been physically abused, emotionally abused, and so on. We can evaluate them for complex trauma, and if they are eligible, we can enroll them in health homes under that criteria. And last but not least, children who have HIV/AIDS are also eligible for health homes as well. Eligibility requirements. So as I mentioned before, the child must have active Medicaid. We enroll from birth up until 21. So if you do have a child who's like 28 days old and they present with severe medical conditions, like children who are on feeding tubes, children who have severe developmental delays or other medical needs, they are eligible for health homes as well. They will get care coordination, but those are that's the beginning of the age range, and we go up until the age of 21 years old. And again, just mentioning the eligibility requirements in order for a child to be eligible for health home. So the referral process. So as I mentioned, I am from the Brooklyn office. There are 2 other intake coordinators. The second one in Brooklyn is Sylvia Bonet. And the third one is Zenny Marte. She is located in the Bronx. We do have a general mailbox. So if you wanted to make a referral, you can email us at the mailbox or individually. So what happens is once we get the referral, we reach out to the families within 48 hours. We let them know, they refer to our program. We discuss the services with them. And if they are interested, we go ahead and schedule the intake appointment. When we do the intake, we meet with the family, including the children. We get like a background history, collect all the information that is going to go to the care manager, who's going to be assigned the following month. If the family is interested in CFTSS services, which stands for Child and Family Treatment Support and Services, if the family is interested, I would be responsible for submitting that referral to our team, who would then evaluate them for services to see if they're eligible for that. And then the following month, the child will be assigned to a care manager. So kind of to just summarize this, we get the referral, we schedule a day to meet with the family, we do the intake, and then the following month, a care manager is assigned. So for example, we're in November. If we do the intake in November, the care manager, the person who will be working primarily with the family, will be assigned the first week of December. Yep, this just explained what I just discussed. Yeah. Yes, documentation. So if you are referring a child who has depression, anxiety disorder, autism, and so on, you need to provide documentation. Sometimes we don't have them, which is fine. We do have access to psyches. So with the permission of the family, we can enter the Medicaid database and just get like a small summary of the child's diagnosis, and that will count has eligibility documentation. But if you have copies of like their IEP, most recent medical workup, if the child has been hospitalized and you have discharge paperwork, anything that has their diagnosis listed and it is signed off by a licensed clinician, doctor, nurse practitioner, please feel free to send it to us. contacts, yes. So once the care manager is assigned, they will be responsible for meeting with the family, depending on the level of the case, the acuity level. So they range from low, medium, and high. So if a child has a low acuity, they are seen every other month. That doesn't mean that they can't speak with the family. It doesn't mean that, they won't check in if something is going on. That doesn't mean they get neglected because it's like, hey, it's not your month yet. I'll see you next month. That doesn't happen. For the medium and high cases, those are a little more intensive. So two home visits are required for the high cases, face to face. For medium, it's one face to face and a collateral contact. So it can be a conversation with ACS, doctor, therapist, whoever's working with the family. But the medium and high cases obviously require a little more effort. But again, even if the child is a low level, that doesn't mean they don't get the same treatment. Next slide. No, you're fine. Thank you. Okay. The Child and Family Treatment Support and Services is the service that I mentioned earlier. Unfortunately, we no longer provide home and community-based services. We stopped providing those services back in July. So at this moment, we're only doing CFCSS services, which is the Child and Family Treatment Support and Services. If you would like a child to receive HCBS services, we can make referrals to other agencies who do provide that particular service. If that's an interest of the family, we can do that. Okay, so
Why are you presenting her?
I can do it after, if that's okay.
The diagnosis of a child with autism. Why does it need a second diagnosis?
It has to be a medical or a SED. So for example, if a child is diagnosed with autism, sometimes they have ADHD. Or if you have a child who has autism and obesity or asthma, epilepsy, any other like chronic medical conditions. Often some people would ask, well, he has autism and a speech delay. It still wouldn't qualify because it's two developmental delays. So it would have to be one developmental and one medical.
So you have eczema.
No, that doesn't qualify. It's not a chronic condition.
I think that's.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if you just look at autism by itself and what that is,
Mhm.
it's hard for me to know that there needs to be something else on top of that.
No.
Because I see so many parents are struggling and so many parents are losing their minds just because of the development.
Yes.
Which now creates health issues on both the child and the parent. And then to say that because the child does not have another condition. Wow.
This program specific because added layer for those, because I work in this field with children with developmental disabilities. So this particular program was put into place for those who have motion. But for autism, there are so many, like you can still get the same services, but you just wouldn't get it from this particular program. My daughter actually had services from here because she had things on top of things, and usually it is more. So they will qualify, but I get what you're saying too, because autism is, it's a spectrum, so if you're higher up on that spectrum, you have a lot of needs.
Right.
That's life changing for a family, that's debilitating for a family, and that's. It affects the parents too, which a lot of the time is not.
But I think I'm saying that. I mean, how often do you hear no? How often are you told that you don't qualify? How often are you told that you don't meet the criteria?
Right.
Like you could be the breaking point for someone coming to you knowing that you offer your service. It's a very sensitive issue. And then be told, I'm sorry, I qualify because it's on their side. And I think that's where for the advocacy side is so important because I work with the parents. I know the hell they go through. I know the anguish, the despair, the sleep, all of that. And to me, those are already flags by themselves that should immediately qualify you. So hearing something like this, my first thought, who the hell do I need to beat up? So we can get this ridiculous, not your program, not your program, not your program. But OPWDD and these other entities who oversee these, that needs to be by itself. It is very unfair to say you still have something else, because there is, as my sister said here, was a child, there are other things already.
Right.
So I'm glad that it's solved. Thank you.
No, thank you for your commentary. It's not the first time that I've heard that. You know, parents call me and they say, well, he has autism, like, why doesn't he qualify? And, you know, it sucks to say that he just doesn't. And that is a higher up issue. In times like that, we always refer out. So even if I know I'm not going to enroll the family, I do refer them to other organizations. And in addition to OPWDD, I know it's also I mean, that process alone is like 1 to 2 years, if I'm not being too dramatic, but right, that part.
That may be the last person you were hoping
Right.
would come through for you. And again, so why, I mean, anyway.
No, your point is valid. It's valid. It's a higher up issue.
Me personally, now I will be talking to some people where this needs to change.
Right. DOH.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me not even go there, but this is gonna change.
No, it's a valid concern. I hear it all the time. And you know, we really try our best to accommodate the families and refer them out to, you know, different organizations. But just going back to the services, so again, as mentioned before, we stopped doing HCBS services, so we only provide CFTSS services. So the child goes through an evaluation with our clinician team. So it's similar like an intake. They primarily ask a lot of questions about the behavior. We want to hear about the behaviors because this way we can say, oh, he or she qualifies for OLP counseling or psychosocial rehabilitation. And the more we hear, the more we can pinpoint what would best, you know, serve the child's needs. So we do the evaluation process first. Once the family completes like the intake process and the paperwork, the team goes ahead and assigns a service provider. And the service provider would be responsible for providing the following. So we provide OLP counseling. We do individual and family counseling in the home. We also do crisis services. We do CPST. So that falls under our crisis services. So if the child is having a crisis in the community, and you need someone to de-escalate the situation, the service provider, if available, can respond within 24 hours. If not, you know, they have until the next day to meet with the family. They come up with a safety plan, to avoid rehospitalization. So that's the goal of the CPST service. We also provide psychosocial rehabilitation service, which is our skill building service. So if the child has difficulty with socialization, difficulty with anger management, if they need help tending to their ADLs, their activities of daily living, and they're not sure how to take care of their hygiene or tie their shoe, it's up to the service provider to work specifically on those goals with the child. We also have the family peer support service. So this is specifically for families who struggle with going to appointments. They have trouble calling Accessorize to get appointments ahead of time, just to make sure that they have transportation available. This is just specifically for parents who just have a hard time just navigating everything. Right. And you have this particular service where, you know, someone is there with them. They can go to appointments with them, and advocate on their behalf. And last but not least, we have the youth peer support and training service. So this is for my kids who are 14 and older. This kind of models Big Brother, Big Sister. They are assigned to someone who age range from 21 to 30 years old. And they model like the healthy Big Brother, Big Sister. So transitioning to adulthood, what does that look like? Resume, cover letter, If you're applying for colleges, you need help with that. If you're just looking for extracurricular activities to get into in the community, YMCA or any different activities that you feel like within that age range, I would say, be connected with someone and they help with that. And I feel like our 14 and older kids are looking for kind of like a big brother, big sister. So they want someone within that age range who would be able to relate to them. Yeah. So this is the breakdown of it. So what I just mentioned before, for the OLP evaluation, there's no specific diagnosis needed for them to do the evaluation. So again, I would be responsible for submitting the referral to the CFTSS team, and they would conduct the evaluation to see what services the child would be eligible for. And then below it gives you on the right-hand side, so it tells you what diagnosis is needed in order for the child to be eligible for these particular services. In addition, I do want to make sure that I explain, once they do the evaluation process, the LPHA must sign paperwork just confirming that the child does meet the criteria for these conditions. So for example, if the child is already connected to a therapist in the community and they're seeing them for like depression, anxiety, ADHD, ODD, this person could sign off on the paperwork, just confirming that the child has this diagnosis and meets criteria for these services. Yeah. Slide. And we'll skip it. Well, no, I don't want to skip it necessarily. Because I want people to know that they can receive these services outside of JCCA. So as I mentioned before, we no longer provide home and community-based services, but I often get phone calls like, hey, I want planned respite. Like I hear they get to go out in the community from 4 to 6 hours. I want that service. So this is where the family gets like those more like, I would say like face-to-face time with the service provider. They're out in the community. They're not in the home a lot. These services particular fall under that criteria. So they have the habilitation services, the planned respite service, the school service. Even though we don't provide HCBS services, that particular service about school, the care manager still goes to the school. The service provider can still communicate with everyone on their behalf. So even if they can't get HCBS services, they still get the opportunity to have the service provider and or care manager speak to the school on the family's behalf. And similar to the vocational services I talked about earlier, they can still get that through the youth peer advocate service. So you still get to discuss that like either with your care manager or your youth peer advocate. Like you still get those services even though we don't do HCBS, if I'm making sense. Yeah. Yes, this is the breakdown of the referral process. So we are the ones to submit the paperwork to the CFTSS team, and they reach out to the family to schedule the OLP evaluation. The family does have to sign their consent forms. They have consent forms separate from health homes. So they would go through that process with the OLP, which stands for the other licensed practitioner. And they would meet with them and they would be responsible for helping the family through this process. Once the child is found eligible for services, a service provider will be assigned to the family, and the care manager would work with the CFTSS team, and they'll collaborate with the service provider until they're finished. This is our referral form. We do have one that's updated, but it's pretty similar. So you can submit this to us via email. You'll mention like the date, where it's coming from, the medical consensus information, the child's information. If the child is in foster care, please make sure to list all that information, who's the case planner on the case. If you know the child's diagnosis, you can check it off on the right-hand side. If you don't know, there is like a little box where you can basically explain what's going on with the child, what conditions you think they may have, and then we'll reach out to the family to follow up. And again, documentation. So a psychosocial, psychological, IEP, medical documents, whatever you have that has the child's diagnosis, you'll attach it along with the referral form and you'll submit it to either myself, Sylvia, Zenny, or our general mailbox. This is our contact information. I don't know if our mailbox is on here, but I can include it in the chat. That's okay. But this is Zenny, she's in the Bronx. Sylvia and I cover Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and Lower Manhattan. Zenny and Sylvia are Spanish speaking, so if you have any clients who are Spanish speaking, you can refer to them. If you have any clients who are Haitian Creole speaking, you can refer them to me. If you have families who speak any other languages, we do use translation services to communicate with those families. I think that's it. Yes. And these are our program directors. Christine is responsible for the CFTSS program. Abby Jeffrey, my supervisor, she is a vice president of the Health Homes program. We have Lauren Pack, who's the Health Home program as well. And then we have Pauline Rose, who's located in the Bronx. That's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Oh, this man.
Yes, the key for me is that it says to be eligible, you have to be a Medicaid, kid has to be a Medicaid.
Yes, you need active Medicaid.
So if there's someone that has like is on the spectrum but doesn't have Medicaid, and they refer them to you, can you have like a list of places that they could go to?
So it would be up to either myself or your Sunny to refer them to another organization. But if they have autism and don't have Medicaid, it's really tough. We do have a non-Medicaid program. I want to make sure that I mention that. But again, the criteria also sucks as well. If the child does not have a SED diagnosis, they are not eligible for the non-Medicaid program. So they must have a SED diagnosis. Stop.
And you'll send them somewhere to get all the like requirements they need to work with your program if they don't have it at the time.
Right. So what I do is I got a call today, similar situation. I told mom she has to apply for family of one Medicaid. So there's ways around it. If the child does not have active Medicaid, I advise the parents to file for family of one Medicaid where only the child would have their own Medicaid, but mom or dad could still have their like health coverage, do their job, private insurance, that's fine. But
requirements for that, just the child.
I just know it's family of one Medicaid. They do it through HRA, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously because they're children, they don't have an income, they've completed the application and everything. Yeah. And that's how they're able to get the eligibility, meet the eligibility requirements for family of one Medicaid. So I referred that mom to the Medicaid office to do that application just for that. So she can still have her health insurance, apply for family of one Medicaid, and once the child has Medicaid, she can come back to us and apply for health homes.
Well, yes, I don't know that, that's news to me, that the child, the child for Medicaid.
Yeah.
Is it a lot of support on immigrant families? If parents that couldn't, get the required documents, but you can't let children not go to school, not to the doctor. So they put things into place where it's just the kid getting better.
Thank you.
And is there follow, the magic question before I go there. Is there follow-ups with the referral to make sure that they connected and went through the process?
For
Or
a
just
child who doesn't have Medicaid?
Medicaid or the assessments that you need them to have?
So if they do have Medicaid and like we're in the process of enrolling them, yes, we follow up. But if it's a child who doesn't have Medicaid, we can't. I mean, I always tell parents to give me a call back or I can follow up with them in a month. But if not, we're not necessarily working with them because they're not enrolling in the program at the time. Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges?
A lot of parents don't want to enroll because they want services now. they want something immediately. And unfortunately, everything is a process. And parents don't want to wait. They want services right away. Like from the moment they sign up, it's like, can services start tomorrow? So unfortunately, telling them like it does take time. The referral process takes time. Getting a care manager reassigned the following month. So I know sometimes they're a little antsy, like, oh my God, like I saw you November 1st, like where is the person? It's November like 20th, what's going on? So that's one of the challenges like I've been facing lately. Like they want things immediately, like right now.
I think it's hard. We wait until they're pushed so far to pass their breaking point. And now all kinds of chaos is happening. When if they had come in and just simply started. See, this is the thing, and this is where part of the board, I'm at the Capitol every year for 6 months with these legislators. My thing is start with the person today, because that gives them a sense of relief. Like you don't know how long this person was trying to get service. You don't know how long they've been waiting. You don't know all the stuff that's been happening. And now this person sitting in front of you and you have an opportunity right now, you're saying, you know what? We can't get you the full services today, but we can start with A&D, level 2, 3, CD, and so on. The challenge is a lot of people are no longer interested in getting services because, to that very point, we talk about services, but we don't talk about what happens when you try to get the services.
Yeah.
The trying to get the services is really the big issue
Yeah.
there,
Mhm.
because people are so frustrated. They come to you with that frustration, and to be told again by somebody again, oh, sorry, again, but you said that you offered this service, my child has a, but I'm sorry, we can't. But what we're not understanding, you don't just say, I'm sorry, and it's an I'm sorry. You're literally saying to someone, you're not bad. I don't care what you got right now, we can't help you, you just go back to the. That's what people are hearing.
Mhm.
And it's frightening for us in the behavioral health field because the levels of anxiety and depression, especially the people choosing to isolate themselves rather than the service, is very, very scary.
Mhm.
It is really terrifying. Can't blame them because you may have been the 20th person, 20th organization, 20th phone call, and so as we talk about the mental health crisis we're dealing with, one of the things I push back on OMH and I say, OMH, well, you created the problem, right? You created the problem, just like the Department of Health, I tell them the same thing. You're creating the very same problems that you're saying is a problem in our community. Because you make access to services and care so far reaching that by the time people go through 5, 10 different times to get help, they still are not. So I think it's an advocacy on our parts as people are working with families to say, we need to reach our families now. We need them to get the services now because they may never go back to them. Right? We don't know what happens after. But what we're seeing and what people are saying is very scary. They're not even interested. No matter how good your program is and how good you're selling it and pitching it,
Mhm.
they're like, no, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with it.
No, 100% valid. And again, like it's unfortunate that it's like these are the requirements, but like you said, a lot of advocacy, going up to, like you said, OMH, DOH, and just advocating for our families. Like it sucks that it has to be that process. But we really try to reassure like our families, like we're here with you. Call us, text us. I know it's not right now, but we're gonna get there eventually. But it's the eventually part that sucks.
They're not designing these programs with humans in mind.
It's a business, that's what it
Yes,
is.
and a lot of
Just
the
call it
times,
what it is, a business.
the people who are making these rules have never experienced these programs. So
Yep.
what makes sense in their mind with no lack in their world, well, they can just wait, it's 6 days, 4 weeks. And it's also the providers, because I do this job, like I have to tell, I can't, I'm sorry. And so what about the providers' mental health? 'Cause we're talking about the families, we're not talking about the people that are in the positions to help people. I hear moms cry, like sometimes all you can do is just listen, because there is nothing I can do. When parents call for housing or things like, I'm losing my apartment, voucher for months, but no one gives me an apartment. What are you supposed to say? So I think a lot of these things, like, we're not looking at it. We need to be at Albany. Everybody needs to be on the bus, bringing it to them, because it's me and you that have to listen and say, no, I'm so sorry. Or what you're doing is what I do, go out of your way to say, no, okay, if I can't, how can I connect? You know, we don't just drop parents off. Like you said, I think about those things. When a parent comes to me and I can't help them, I go with them to the other program. Let me fill out the forms for you, because at this point, that's what they really need. It's not even a program. It's the form. Yeah, so you're right. And thank you for what you do and how much you go out of your way, because I can already tell that you go above and beyond and out of your way for families. And that's not even within your job description. So thank you.
Yes.
Right? Because everybody that you go to is another layer is coming to you. It's another layer is coming to you. By the time the person gets to the 20th person, that's 20 layers that you're sitting in front of you, and you're just like, everyone else. You're not even grinding, stay grinding. And I just, so now you're struggling with that, right? And nobody's thinking about the providers, how the impact of just telling someone, no, I'm sorry, you're qualified. So someone now we can help you. And now you go home and struggling with that. Because I work with a lot of clinicians who, yeah, thank you for what you're doing. And our thing is not to go to Albany. Our thing is Albany needs to come down to communities, they need to come down to your programs, and need to see firsthand how these programs are being run. And I tell them every day, you're disconnected from the reality of the world, okay?
We have to stop going up as numbers and going up as stories, as Ruth Horry, mother of 3, who experienced this, not 49% of people. We are not numbers. We are people. Like, these are people. I think that's a lot of what needs to happen. We don't need statistics. We need to see the mom, her tears, like the rawness of what people are experiencing.
First, see the environment you're living. I need you to go with this person to the appointment that they had. Last year, I challenged Commissioner Sullivan. We were at the 3-day conference, and I said, listen, I need you to come with me to my doctor's appointments. Against you. And I said, because guess what happens? When you as OMH go, they're not OMH is coming. We got to prep, we got to know OMH is coming. But the average person who goes into the healthcare system, oh my God. Oh my God. But they don't see that. So this is why my challenge to them, just like the legislators, go with the average residents. Just take a day, say, I want to see what the life of my residents are. Let me look at school. Let me look at the healthcare system. Let me look at community-based organization. Let me look at the churches. Don't just look at the political seats that you need votes that you're going in at that time. Go and see the everyday lifestyle of New Yorkers, and you realize, oh my God, this is really messed up stuff. And that's really a problem.
Yeah, Mrs. Sutter, we got 3 more presentations.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But no, it's important conversations, but we want to make sure we get all the information, including your important presentation. Thank you, Ruth.
All right, so. Alright, so we're just gonna get started. I'm not gonna run through the whole presentation because this is usually meant for families. And so I wanted to come in and get connected with other providers. So that if this is something that you're interested in, please do reach out to me. And I do these presentations in churches. I do them for moms groups. I do them for doulas. It's funny because we're in line with what we're talking about today. So hi, everyone. My name is Ruth Horry. I am the community liaison consultant with Health and Hospitals, and I work to change perceptions of hospitals that have a negative image. And so one of those hospitals is Kings County. Tough job, right? Like, ooh. So I'm just gonna briefly go over like what this is, right? So this is not the city decided Black women dying is important. It isn't. This is Black women working in the hospital. One of them you see on the screen, Dr. Suzette Graham-Hill, who is the director of cardio and OB practice at Kings County Hospital. is tired of watching Black women and brown women come into the hospital pregnant and only a baby goes home. We live in one of the richest, if not richest countries in the world, and there's no reason why childbirth is dangerous. So just, I always state that before I start because it's really important for people to know that this is a for us, by us program. This doctor just happened to get funding to continue the work that she's been doing. My assistant here, Savannah, is going around with these sign-in sheets. You'll see her in a second. If you have the opportunity to, if you could scan the QR code on the screen, it's a really brief survey. It just tries to get to what is it that you know about heart health. And then after the presentation, if we've done a good job or if we need to make changes. So I'm just going to give everyone 2 seconds to do that. So while everyone's filling out the survey, I just wanted to let you know that I did get a call that said I have an emergency that I have to, after this, leave. But life is full of emergencies. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do this presentation and then I'm going to leave. But I am going to leave my flyer here, which has my contact information for anybody that's interested. I even do one-on-ones. I will come out and sit with one person and talk about heart health if that's what's necessary. So I'm just, I think I'm going to leave. Definitely, yes. And I'm also going to leave some swag on the table. Feel free to make my bag lighter on the way home. All right, so we're going to go to the next slide. So today we're going to talk about why women become ill and can potentially die. I'm going to skip through the focus of the 4 actual conditions, and then I'm just going to talk about how you can get connected. Next slide. So this program launched earlier this year. So when I say launch, that means the check was cut. This work has been done by this doctor for the past 2 decades, but she finally got the funding to connect obstetrics with cardio because the leading cause of Black and brown women dying is heart related. And so if we team up, we can make sure that we're catching moms on both sides. Next slide. So absolutely insisted that this slide be placed in because before we go forward, we have to acknowledge that these systems were put in place for a reason. This is not a mistake. This was by design. Next slide. So just some numbers. Having a baby is usually safe and women have been having babies for generations. Sometimes there are more risks with having a baby, such as high blood pressure or an unplanned C-section. But more mothers die in childbirth in the United States than any other wealthy country. That's 22 out of 100,000. But because of racism, deaths are more common for Black and brown mothers. About 49 out of 100,000 can die every year.
May we
Next
see the
slide.
last slide one more time? The one right before this one? I'm so sorry.
Sure.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is my favorite one. Because it breaks down the layers to it. Like there's so many different ways that you can come at this. I can remember being pregnant with Savannah, who's here with me now. She's about to be 10. I was babysitting 2 other children and I was having contractions and I thought it was time. Called the ambulance, they take me to the hospital. And the first thing the doctor said to me is, "You're having another one?" The other 2 kids weren't mine. I made the decision then that I would have this baby on the sidewalk before I went back to that hospital. But the hospital that I went to was 20 minutes further. So now I have to risk my life to get to the further hospital because he couldn't keep his comment to himself and his bias was showing up at work. He might have been a wonderful doctor though. Okay, next slide, 2 slides. So almost half the deaths around pregnancy happen within a week to a year after mom gives birth. So this is not, we're just watching mom while she's pregnant. Women are dying up to a year after they give birth. I like to coin the phrase, all eyes on mom. When mom gets pregnant, everybody's focused on her. When she has the baby, it's all eyes on the baby. Who's watching mom? Who's making sure that mom's eating? Who's making sure that mom goes to that 6-week checkup and doesn't skip it? I skipped it, haven't been in 10 years. When I started this training, I went to the doctor because I can't look at you and tell you to go. Gotta go. The major causes of death among Black mothers are heart-related problems related to high blood pressure. Next slide. So as we know, pregnancy is a stress test. On top of the physical challenges, especially around the amounts of blood and the work that the heart needs to do, it increases the load on our bodies. And so this can reveal underlying things that already existed. So a lot of times I give these presentations to men, women, young fathers. I want everybody looking at mom. But the reality of this is that a lot of these things existed, but were ignored. But pregnancy just made it worse and brought it to the front. Next slide. So we're not going to go into the actual, so we're going to skip over these. We're not going to do the actual high blood pressure. The next slide I definitely want to tap into. So this is a slide that's, to me, it bothers me because there's a cure for everything on this page. None of the things that we listed are things that we don't have a cure for. It's just when Black and brown women say I'm in pain, they're overlooked. Because we're coming from a historical practice of our thicker skin provided us a cushion for pain, and that we don't feel pain like other races do. So when you talk about preeclampsia and high blood pressure, aspirin. We are not diagnosing anyone. The point of this is to go to your doctor, but we do just want to put what some of the things that they do. So I don't want someone to say, I think this is happening, so I'm just going to pop this aspirin. I'm going to need you to go to the doctor. For people with chronic hypertension, there are high blood pressure medications. And for people who are diagnosed with severe high blood pressure, preeclampsia or eclampsia, there's a magnesium sulfate that can be administered in the hospital. And that means your blood pressure's gotten so high to the point where it's literally boiling and you're seizing. Next slide. So another thing that I like to say through this is it's not about remembering the signs and symptoms. It's about knowing that something is wrong and getting help. You shouldn't have to, because you're Black, walk into the hospital while you're experiencing it and say, I think I have cardiomyopathy, someone check me. We shouldn't have to do that. The point is, hearing these signs over and over in the community, that's why I'm going to continue to do these presentations, so that people will notice these are the red flags. Being younger than 18, over 35, being overweight, having family with high blood pressure, having kidney problems or diabetes, having multiple births, things like lupus, and obviously smoking and substance abuse. Next slide. And some of the effects of blood pressure after the pregnancy is the continued high blood pressure, which could lead to heart damage, heart failure, stroke, and unfortunately death as well. Next slide. We're gonna go to the next slide.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
I feel left out here. I really feel left out. So we're doing fathers, dads, and male partners come into this conversation.
That's a good question. So I do these with the SEO Fatherhood program because a lot of them are young dads who have no idea what any of these things look like. So I usually, throughout their cohort, they usually come about 12 weeks. I come about 3-4 times just to keep, this presentation takes about 30 minutes. But if I keep saying it and saying it, look out for swelling, look out for these signs. Stroke is something that they've said so much to us over time. We know now, lift up your hands. If one don't go up, we know it's a problem. So it's just helping them to keep an eye on mom and not forget it's not just the baby. So it's all of our responsibility.
Point is, I'll give you an example. I had to take the rest out of the hospital. They forced her into pre-labor and almost killed her. I had to literally tell them, stop, we're leaving. Our daughter was born 7 weeks premature, and now I have had near-death experiences and all kinds of things in my life, scars from head to toes. I've gone through stuff. I've never felt more scared and helpless seeing my child in that box with cables and tubes and all of that. And while standing there, knowing what the hospital did to her through that, one of the nurses came and said, "Oh, mom, let me teach you how to be spiritual, be small, let me teach you." And I said, "Hold on, babe, hold on. Nurse, I'm father. I'm standing right here. How do you want to tell mom to do that? Take care of mom and the baby, because when a mom is not feeding good, the baby still needs to be taken care of. And she's thinking, I see. So the point is, we have come a far way from postpartum depression to parental depression, where the fathers are involved and included in the conversation. And you're right. The problem is, if more of us were with our partners through this process more, the protection that we could give our partners is so helpful in this whole thing when you look at the mortality rate of our Black and brown system. So the conversations must include fathers, dads, and the roles and critical roles that we play, not just for them, but also for ourselves here too, to make sure, because 90% of it stops with us. It's our responsibility to take care of her and the baby. And if we don't, we get cursed out. Everybody calls us, oh, you deadbeat dad, all these negative things, but nobody's saying, how can we help you as a dad, as a father? Especially if you're a first-time father, first-time dad, and you're seeing these complications with your partner, like you're literally going mad in here, and nobody's saying, hey, let me help you, let me tell you how to take care of yourself.
So I would say two things to that. One, that is one of the biggest things that I've advocated for over the past, I want to say 10 years, and I've actually created programming that didn't exist around that. In addition to that, with this program here, I advocated with Health and Hospitals to push Robin Hood to give money to specifically target dads. And that's why I'm in like the SEO Fatherhood program, because it is important. And even whether they're not together in the same household, dad is seeing mom, dad will meet another person, dad may, whatever, his sister may be pregnant, his mother may be pregnant. The point of this presentation is Black and brown women are dying. And so two things are true at the same time. Black and brown women are dying and men need more support. I can't do both, but in other work, I just want to let you know that I'm not one of those people that have forgotten about men. I've helped fathers get full custody of their children. I've dedicated the past 12 years to supporting dads. When I was in college and I had this one report around domestic violence, and I brought up that dads experience it too. And then part of that report was to find resources. There were none. And so I made it my business to dedicate a part of my life to creating those programs and services. So I think it's a common misconception that Black and brown women aren't pushing for that. We are, but there's so many issues to push towards that we can't all do the work. So this is a little part of what I do, but I wear many hats in this room, and supporting dads is, we've come a long way. Dads couldn't even pick up WIC checks when I was coming up. You had to get mom, but you want dad to be involved, but dad couldn't do anything. Dad couldn't, you take the baby to the doctor and where's mom? So we've come a long way, but we still got a ways to go. So I definitely, I appreciate the question.
Thank you.
No, definitely. Is the little, oh, nice, okay. And so I'm going to try to speed it up. So again, we talked about stroke. That's something that most people are familiar with. It's a brain attack when something blocks the flow of blood to the brain. Next slide. Yeah, we're not going to do the signs and symptoms. So we're going to skip here. We'll keep going. Yeah. I'm seeing, because I can see the next, yeah, so we want, no, the next slide. So we know that, that we can care for each other better when we're more informed. So again, if this presentation with all the signs and symptoms is something that you're interested in for any groups that you're a part of, please feel free to reach out to me. We make direct referrals to the exact doctor that I showed you. I am not sending people to a place that I have no idea. I can't tell you what they're doing in any other hospital. I can tell you what they're doing in Kings County on the 5th floor. No, because a lot of people judge a hospital by its emergency room. If you judge a hospital by its emergency room, it's an emergency room. People are freaking out, losing their mind, having emergencies. Upstairs, sometimes is a lot of great work happening. I found that out myself with Woodhull. That hospital emergency room, I'll die outside. But upstairs, when I tell you they saved my daughter's life, the hospital was beautiful. They went above and beyond. And I think those are the stories that are often missed because people can only judge from the portion that they see. So I can't tell you that you're going to want to go to the emergency room in Kings County. Do not quote me for that. But if you know someone who is pregnant, Dr. Suzette Graham Hill is the exact doctor that they're going to see, her team, and the cardiologist. So I thank you everyone for your time. I appreciate you welcoming me into the space. And I appreciate the challenge because that is one of my favorite things to do is to exercise these brain muscles. So again, thank you everyone. I appreciate you. And this is not familiar faces. I feel like I've seen her. And I feel like I've seen you just, I don't know where it is.
Sure, no problem. Hi, everyone. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Lauren. I am from JCCA in our foster home division. I'm the director of our home finding department. So we're here today. I'm here with our dedicated foster parent recruiter, Rose, and we're here to talk about our search for foster parents. It's never ending. We're always looking for new foster parents. And specifically, we're here today to talk about the different programs that we have at JCCA and foster parent recruitment, I think. It's pretty soon. Talk about our different programs and what our current need is, go through a little bit of the process. It's going to be very brief. And we're always available for any questions that you have.
Almost there.
All right. So these are our 3 programs that we have at JCCA, foster care programs.
Cindy, I don't know how to do this. Okay. Cindy, please.
We have some in Spanish if you want as well. Thank you.
I know Spanish is so weird. I thought this was services for them.
Okay, there we go. All right, so our 3 programs at JCCA, we have enhanced family foster care. That's essentially our standard foster care program for all youth coming from ACS. You can skip to the next one. Wait. Yeah, that one. Okay, so that's our standard foster care program. Our foster parents in this program are trained to deal with children with all levels of trauma, behavioral needs, diagnoses. We have our specialized family foster care program, which is for youth with medical conditions, usually diabetes, heart conditions, things of that nature. And then we have our unaccompanied children's program. So those are children who are not in ACS care. They are in federal custody. They are children who've come to the US without a parent or guardian. So our main need right now, we always need foster parents, but we are looking for foster homes in Brooklyn and Queens. We have offices in both South Bronx and in downtown Brooklyn. We get a lot of inquiries from the Bronx, from outside of the 5 boroughs. But really, our Brooklyn Queens programs need to expand a little bit more, and we need more foster homes in those boroughs. We also always need foster homes for teens, as well as sibling groups. Usually, we have foster parents that can take maybe 2 siblings, but then we get these referrals for children, in a sibling group of 4 or 5. Obviously, we're living in New York City, small apartments, we get it. But anyone who has, has a larger apartment, a home, can potentially accommodate a larger sibling group. And then foster homes for the unaccompanied children program, which I'll go into a little bit more on the next slide. So like I said, these are children who've come to the US without a parent or guardian. They're under the age of 18, and they have no legal status here in the US. They've been apprehended at the border, and they're coming to the US to escape abuse, whether in their home or in their community, violence, trafficking, or to reunify with family members. And they come from all over the globe. So, it's not just from Guatemala, Honduras, where, we see a lot of kids from Haiti, African countries, and really all over. So who can foster? We welcome all types of families, single applicants, people living together, people married, younger folks, older folks. You could rent a home, you could own a home, it doesn't matter. You must be 21 or older. You have to have stable income and stable housing. And obviously you must have compassion, patience, and commitment. You, as a foster parent, you provide a safe, nurturing environment, emotional support and guidance, partnership with the child's team. We don't just place children in your care. They don't just come with a caseworker, they come with a host of services. And as you heard the presentation about health homes earlier, our foster home division works so closely with the health homes division at JCCA and with the health homes divisions at other agencies. So we ensure that these youth are coming with services rather than just, hey, here's a kid, they have needs, they have trauma, good luck. And you also provide encouragement for educational and social development for these children, and you're providing them stability, someone that they know they can go home to, even if it's temporary. So like I talked about the support that our foster parents receive, we have case management services. That's the case management team, the caseworker, their supervisor, their director. There's also some children are eligible for what we call a sociotherapist. So that's an additional team member of the case management team that sees the child more frequently, once a week. Then we have medical and mental health support. So every child is assigned a nurse at the agency who monitors their medical care. And we have in-house therapists, as well as psychologists and psychiatric nurse practitioners. Education, recreation, and vocational support. So we work to enroll the children in school if they're not already enrolled, monitor their educational progress, sit in on IEP meetings and things like that. For our older youth, we have lots of activities at the agency, as well as for the ones that are eligible to work, help them find jobs. Yes.
Are you taking questions? Or wait till the end of the
maybe to the end of the slide?
Okay.
How about that? Okay. We have 24 on-call, 24/7 on-call support. So foster parents have a number that they can call evenings, weekends. If there's an issue, a crisis, they're not sure what to do, they can call us. Obviously, there is a stipend that comes with caring for the youth. However, that's why we said the piece before about having a stable income. That stipend is just for the care of the youth. It's not meant to cover your own expenses, your own bills, but what expenses you would incur as caring for the child, the extra set of groceries, as well as, their hygiene and things like that, clothing for them. Our team provides our training and support to foster parents. So we have ongoing in-service trainings throughout the month. Every month that we provide, we have support groups, and we're always available when foster parents have issues, questions, concerns, to be a support to them. And access to community and agency resources. So like I spoke earlier about health homes, we're connected with a lot of different departments within the agency as well as outside. of the agency to ensure that our foster parents feel like they have the support and services. You had a question?
Yeah. If the parent adopts the child,
Mhm.
does all these services go away?
That is a good question. Not all of them, no. So obviously the case management services, that's specific to foster care. But health homes, if let's say we've referred a child for health home services while they're in care with us, that continues after they're discharged. The stipend, if you adopt a child, the stipend converts to an adoption subsidy. And yeah.
Can you explain that?
So it's essentially the same amount. So when we're kind of applying for an adoption, we have to submit a subsidy to ACS. And it's at the amount of the board check. So our children also get different rates depending on the level of need. So whatever we ensure that they're at the correct rate they need to be based on their latest evaluation or assessment. And that's submitted to ACS. ACS approves it and locks it in. So until that child is 21, you receive that rate post-adoption. Yeah.
Do they explain at the beginning when the parent is going for adoption? Because I got some of these questions and parents are confused but whether I adopt the child, do the services go away? You just tell them beforehand?
Yeah. So I mean, we will talk about the process as we're onboarding a prospective foster parent, but we also want foster parents when they're coming aboard to go into this, yes, some of them have the intention to adopt, but we don't know that it's going to get there. Some of our kids, if we're looking to place them in a pre-adoptive home, we know that, but if a case is coming new into care, our goal is that they return home if possible. So we want our foster parents to be prepared, but to also understand that this might not happen. We always ask our foster parents once they've had placement for a certain period of time, how are you feeling about the placement? What do you think about providing long-term care for this child? So that they can say yes or no, and we know what we're doing, but we still work with the birth parents at the same time. So our foster parents should both, and it's hard for anyone to get attached to a child and commit yourself to a child knowing that they may return home. But also we've had a lot of foster parents who stay connected with birth parents if the child returns home and remain a part of the child's life, even after they return to their birth parents.
With that stipend or whatever the money they can get, it's true that it can be more depending on if the child has additional challenges.
Yes.
And with that, what process is in place on how that money is managed? Are you checking if they're buying clothes, if they're using it to send them to like a after-school program or something?
Yeah.
Is there any management there?
Yeah. So our case management team is really checking in on that they're doing monthly home visits. At the least, they're seeing the child and foster parent once a month, probably more. So in that check-in, they're making sure that the child has the clothing that they're supposed to have. They're talking with the child and the foster parent about what their needs are. And we're constantly assessing to make sure, that all those needs are being provided. We have what's called 6-month family team conferences. And we kind of check in on what the child's services are. And making sure, does the child need to be enrolled in an after-school program? And then we're looking, there are some things we can access for free or low cost, and some things that the foster parent might need to use that stipend to enroll them in.
You check receipts?
We don't check receipts, no. But we do hold them accountable if we're seeing inconsistencies, if we're seeing that their closet is missing, they don't have a winter coat and it's been cold some of these days, we're asking, well, when are you gonna buy that winter coat?
Just on the chat, someone asked, and I am not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but she asked, how often is adoption possible?
I don't have the exact facts and figures, but it happens all the time. We just had an adoption happen today at the office, not at the office, but with one of our kids. So it's it's happening all the time. I think our goal is to try and get 30 to 40 adoptions happening every year.
I remember someone telling me, because I was interested in being a foster parent to adoption, they said, don't count on it. Don't count on adoption. Like, don't have your heart set on that.
Yeah, because it may not happen.
We've seen foster parents have their heart broken, you know, but we also want them to open their heart. So it's not easy being a foster parent. It's not for the faint of heart. But it's an amazing thing.
So why is that, what you said, don't convert, why is that?
Because the process to get a child freed for adoption takes a long time. When a child comes into care, our first goal is to, you know, work with the birth family. So if, you know, we hear other people's presentations, we know what families struggle with. Sometimes children are coming into care because of parent substance abuse issues. Sometimes they're coming into care because of, let's face it, financial challenges that have led to other challenges. So we're looking to build the birth parent's capacity to care for the child, or to, you know, in some cases, if they can't return back to the birth parent, there might be a relative that came forward later on in the case that wasn't available or didn't come forward initially. You know, we had a situation where a youth went to a grandparents who didn't know that the child was in care initially. So the child was initially placed as a baby with a foster parent and had to move to a grandparent's home. And it's like, you know, you can be torn because that's their biological family, that's their grandparents, but then they've created a bond with a foster parent. It wasn't an easy decision to make.
The relative, do they have preference over the foster parent?
Typically, but the decision isn't made like definitively. It's always the birth parent. This actually went out in court. You know, a judge ultimately decided what to do, because, you know, it was a complicated case. It wasn't, you know, okay, a family member came forward, let's move her. You know, she had a bond with the foster parent too, and they still have contact. There was an arrangement made.
And I just want to add, it's complicated, but in the past, you know, you guys are working on it more now. Reunion with the family has not always been a focus.
Right.
And it's important. You see the benefits of a child growing up with their family, their biological family.
Yeah.
So even though it's disheartening because you see people who would like to adopt a child at the time, but it's very helpful for a child to grow up with.
But also, what do you take into consideration at the child's stage? I wonder, to stay with foster parent?
Of course.
Or do the child have to be over of age, like 14 and over, or?
So technically, to a consent to an adoption, you have to be 14 and up. However, we've had kids under 14 who are vocal, you know, and tell us, and we listen. You know, I've personally worked with kids who said, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And they've been under 14.
They take it into
Of course. Yeah.
Ken, what is the age limit?
There is none.
Really? So if I wanted to be adopted, I could get adopted?
Yeah, but not with us.
I have a question.
Aren't we all?
Circling back in the chat. The chat has their hands up. Tiana, unmute. Question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I just can't turn my camera on. But I have a question about the vetting process for parents who are trying, or just anyone who's trying to participate in foster care. Only because I have some experience with, you know, my mom was a foster mom and all of my siblings went through foster care and then was adopted. And I'm listening to some of the things you're saying. It's like have a steady income. My mother has never had a job. So I don't know, you know, I know there's different agencies out there, but one day I would like to, as soon as I get my husband on board, to do foster care and adopt a baby or, you know, a child. So I'm just curious because it's always been a mystery on how certain things, just like haven't been exposed to the system myself and seeing some of the flaws. Like that's always my question. How is the vetting? I know you said they have to be compassionate and stuff like that. Like how is that measured when it comes to vetting?
Yeah, so that actually is, well, I want to touch upon it now in our next slide, but I just did want to touch upon the stable income part. We said income and not a job, because income can come from Social Security, public assistance. You know, it just needs to be finances that we know that a foster parent can pay their rent, can pay their phone bill, their light bill, and is not relying on foster care funds to do so. Because that's one of the flaws in the system, is that we've all heard the horror stories of foster parents, and that they were using the board check, the stipend, for their income, and that's not what it's meant for. So that's why we say the stable income piece, it could be anything. We have plenty of foster parents who are on SSI or public assistance, but as long as it's covering all their expenses, it's all good. So in terms of kind of the process, well, first step is attending an orientation. A lot of what we've touched upon today is a part of the orientation process, but we run an orientation every other week, virtually, where we talk about the different foster care programs, the process, answer any questions. And from there, we start working to assess, do the background checks, and work with you through the process. So the first step, number one, is background checks, because we want to make sure it's a child abuse and neglect screening, as well as a criminal background check screening. And it's to ensure that we can continue to work with you, because there are certain things that are mandatory disqualifiers. If you have a criminal history, it doesn't automatically disqualify you, but certain crimes do. And if you do have a criminal record, we do need to do an assessment with you, ask a couple of questions, so that we can say we have properly assessed that this person, maybe committed a crime 20, 30 years ago. It has nothing to do with child rearing. They've done X, Y, and Z since. They're good to go. So we do that background check process initially, so that way we don't start working you through the process just to find out you won't work out. There's the application and supporting documents. So there's lots of forms that foster parents complete about, certain things that they're agreeing to around discipline, around their roles and responsibilities as a foster parent. And during that process, we're going to do a home study assessment. We're visiting your home. We're checking out to make sure you've got the space for a child. If, let's say, you've got kids of your own and you live in a 2-bedroom, is that second bedroom that, they can share a room with your children, that's fine. But is there really space for another child in that room? And just to make sure that, your home is in compliance with state regulations. And if, there's a few things that needs to be fixed, we talk that out with you about, window guards, certain locks on things, and that. So we do the home visit to assess the physical space, but we also talk with you a little bit about your background, your history, your motivation for fostering, what your understanding of fostering is. Because if you're going into this saying, I want a baby, I only want to adopt, I don't want a child who's going to grow up with special needs, we're going to talk with you a little bit more, because what's the reality of that? First of all, we have people adopt babies all the time. We have babies that come into foster care. That's not the majority of the kids coming into the system. And you could give birth to a child or father a child that grows up to have special needs. You don't know when you're beginning with a child that they're not going to develop some kind of condition or have a mental health diagnosis. So really talking that out, that we could place a child with you, but we don't know everything about that child. And we really want to make sure that not only are we assessing your capacity to be a foster parent, but also that you have all the knowledge prepared to say, can I do this? Do I want to do this? And we can work with you. We can help and support you and help you learn all the things about a child's development and how to access resources so that you are prepared if anything were to happen. So it's a home study process. Throughout this time, we also enroll you in a pre-certification training. Every foster parent has to take this before they're certified. It's 30 hours, and we do it virtually now, ever since COVID, so it's easier. But it's a really great resource to kind of talk through a lot of it, talk through the loss and grief our children go through separating from their families, talk through how to navigate family dynamics, talk through trauma, talk through child development, and really help prepare you for the fostering journey. Did that answer your question, Kiana, about the process, the vetting process?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, so the next slide is just wrapping up. Thank you. This is longer than I had anticipated. We just wanted to really just get here talk about us. We have flyers. You're welcome to take, even if you're yourself, you know, can't foster, aren't interested, but if you know someone, if you want to take it back to your organization, take it back to your friends, your family, just talk about us. Honestly, that's the best way that we get our best foster parents are the ones that know people who know the agency, who call us, who are really, really interested and invested in taking the step. We have flyers in English and Spanish. We also have these cool notepad magnets. Feel free to take. And our contact information is on the screen. Thank you so much for listening today.
I heard the minimum age to become a foster parent, but consider maximum age.
There's no maximum age. We don't want to be ageist. You know, and we have plenty of foster parents who, you know, are our grandparents, great grandparents. You have to do a medical, you know, exam. So a doctor has to rule, you know, find that you're fit to be a foster parent. We do have foster parents with medical conditions. As long as the doctor says that it can be managed while you know, have the busy life of a foster parent, then you're approved. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes, I know. We need to.
I don't know if I can. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna try this. Just because of all you beautiful people, I'm gonna do this for you, okay? So can I start? Because I know time. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brett Scudder from the Scudder Intervention Services Foundation, the Suicidality Institute, and the Suicidality Center. We provide services around people's behaviors and helping them to manage the emotions, face the challenges, teaching them life skills, life tools to manage the challenges of life. But I want to talk with you today about loneliness of pain and how pain itself is causing a lot of what we're seeing today in a lot of behaviors. And, you know, it's hard when you say, how can you be lonely around family members, loved ones, and even coworkers? But the truth is there are more people struggling with loneliness now than we've seen in decades because we're not able to talk with each other. There are so many reasons why a lot of us don't want to share. There are so many reasons why a lot of us feel that we need to keep our private lives private. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is a lot of people in workplaces, their coworkers are struggling, they don't know. The health and mental health fields, unfortunately, are the highest fields of people who feel that they cannot share with their coworkers how they're feeling. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Unfortunately, what's happening is that loneliness turns to pain, turns to depression, turns to anxiety, turns into a whole lot of unhealthy habits. But unfortunately, again, as a society, we are so judgmental that people are afraid to share. So usually I do a 3-4 hour presentation because you're all such beautiful people. I'm going to give it to you in 20 minutes, okay? Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will, you know, walk through this with you. All right, so see, you gave it to me now and it's not working because you wanted to do it and now I took it from you, but now it's not working. I don't know what's going on. Okay, all right, so it's your machine, right? Okay, all right. Oh boy. When you hear loneliness, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? This just real quick, whether in the chat or in the room. What's the first thing? Sadness? Okay. What is the first, when you hear the word loneliness, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Isolation. Okay. Sadness. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Come on. Loneliness. Depression, grief, loss, sadness, despair, hunger, overwhelm, unwanted. Oh yeah. Because sometimes when a person is hungry, they don't want to be around people because again, I don't know if you ever heard your stomach talk when you're hungry? Okay. Oh, listen, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at some of the being misunderstood. Thank you. Awesome. Yes. Thank you, the person in the chat. The loneliness that we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is so frightening because you're with an intimate partner or wife or spouse or whatever, and you're still intimately with that person who has no idea how you're feeling. You have people living with their family and loved ones who don't even know how they're feeling. They're struggling with depression, anxiety. They're feeling a sense of overwhelm. They're feeling this unease within themselves and they can't share it with their family members. You have people working in the field, serving people, like providing services to people and not even talking about how they're feeling and what they're going through. We are living in a very judgmental society. We're living in a society where social media and technology is telling us what it looks like or how we should be and how we should be living our lives. And so a lot of people feel like because they're not living that way or not living that life, they're not fitting in, they're not welcome. And so they isolate themselves and stay lonely. It's for the first time loneliness has risen to the top of one of the 3 top health conditions across the world. Loneliness. And when you see the people who are lonely, you would not believe it. You would not believe it. And so I just want us to think for a second, you know, as we look at the screen and you look and you see those 2 faces, what jumps out at you? What grabs your attention as you see those things on the screen? Talk to me. Pain, emotions, fake happiness.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get back to that. She said fake. All right, what else?
They're putting on a facade behind the mask.
Facade behind the mask. Do we know how they're feeling? These 2 things that we're looking at?
I see the tears, that was a sad, no, really sad.
So because you see the tears, you think the person's sad.
Yeah.
And because you see the ones laughing, you think the person's happy.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the biggest challenge we face.
Well, compare with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, but the expression with the rest of the expression with the tear, these people is.
So, but unfortunately, this is what we're using as a precursor to say how people are feeling, right? So we're using the outward appearances by what we see, and we're telling ourselves that because the person is smiling, they're happy, and the person is crying, they're sad. But those 2 masks, it's the same person with a breath apart. Person was just happy, now they became sad. Person was sad, now they became happy. Person who's crying could be crying because of happy. Something great happened and I just burst out crying. And you see me crying and be, oh my God, what happened? Are you okay? Sometimes happiness can show itself and present itself in ways that could look like someone is not. And sometimes a lot of people wear the happy mask because I don't want you to know what I'm going through. And so we are masking ourselves behind these masks. And then we go home at the end of the day, we take the mask off and the real person shows up. The highest rates of people who are dealing with loneliness and grief is from 11 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock in the morning. And I want you to think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Thank you. Thank you.
What was she say?
You're alone. 11 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning. Who would you call between 11 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning? Call on yourself, right? But seriously, think about it. Do you really, if you are feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, whatever you're going through and this is really heavy on you, do you really have someone that you can talk to? Do you really have someone you can confide in?
That's your religion, on the chat. Sorry, I'm still saying in the chat, something's not coming up. They said calling on God honestly, and then someone else said, I am
So to the person in the chat who is familiar with 988, thank you so much. That is the new number for the National Suicide Hotline. It is no longer that 855, 988. So you call 988 and you'll be able to talk with someone who will help you through whatever you're going through to help to kind of regulate those emotions to get you in a good place. If not, they can connect you with someone in the community that you're in that you can see in person. But think about this. I want us to think about this and remember this. 11 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning. That's your moment of despair, right? That window is a time when you are most alone. You could be laying in bed beside a partner who fell asleep and you're still up all night, straight through the morning, dealing with all kinds of thoughts and all kinds of things going on. And that person still didn't even know that you were up. Person still didn't know what you're going through. You're in the house with your family, you're laughing and all these different things, you're talking, but you're struggling inside. And so this is what we're seeing. So the question we should be asking ourselves, you know, which one of these is in pain? Because that's what I want you to understand today. We're going to talk briefly about pain, and I'm going to show you something that's going to really help you to see this in a whole different light. Can we go to the next slide, please? I know we're on time here. So next slide, please. Who's working with me? All right. Pain. Come on, Miss Cindy. One. Pain. When you think about pain, what do you think of? When you hear the word pain, what do you think of? Ouch. Hurts. What else? Physical. What else?
Stop.
Stop. Discomfort, unease, unsettled. Oh my God. What the agony, right? Okay. Mental pain. So pain is not something, as you look on the screen, you see that image of that person. You can see the physical manifestation, right? Does that look like somebody's in pain to you? How much pain you think that hold on, Miss Cindy. Wait, Miss Cindy, you're going way too fast. Let's back up a bit. All right, just back up a little. All right, stay right there. Stay. No, go by one. Go one more. But look at the person, right? What do you see when you see the image?
He might have just like won a race or something.
Oh, you want to what?
Won a race.
Won a race. Okay.
He just had
Anger, long day, finally releasing, mental pain. Okay. But this is what we look at and we see a physical manifestation, right? And we say, because we've been programmed for so long, that when we see something like that, we immediately say, oh my God, this person is in a lot of pain. This person is going through a lot. But do we really know? Right? Do we really know? When was the last time you went to the doctor or the emergency room? Long time. What's the first thing when you go in and you're being triaged? What did they ask you?
Oh, pain. Is it a 1? What is it?
If
Yeah,
it's
scale of
1 to 10, right? And I say 15. And they say, no, sir, it has to fit. You have to be 1 to 10. So you say, what, 10 is your highest. So right there is our first challenge in society right now. We are trying to limit people's pain within a certain level that we think they should be. If you go outside of that, well, they don't know what to do. Exactly, right? They don't know what to do with you. So you're trying to tell me the way that I'm feeling right now, I should tell you from this scale, from 1 to 10, my pain level is a 10. What does that do for you? Okay, now that's good. I can work with a 10.
Look like the guy in the picture.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So a lot of what we're dealing with is physical and we're seeing, but what we're not doing is we're not listening, right? Miss Cindy, next one time, right? So to the person who said mental pain, thank you. Kiana, thank you. Emotional pain hurts your entire system. Your entire system, both physical and psychological, and you don't even know what hurts more, right? Your knees hurt, your stomach hurt, you know, you got migraines, all these different things as symptoms comes out of pain, right? So how do we treat that? How do we treat the pain, right? Miss Cindy, give me one, please. So as we are talking about pain and we're just going to go through, I want us to think about the human body in its entirety. If I broke my arm right now, right here, and this bone was broken, let me on this for people, if this bone is broken, where's my pain? Could be entire arm, could be all over. Why all over? Right? Think about it. Your arm is broken right here. The bone is broken, so you know that that's going to be some pain, right? Does everybody react to the same pain the same way? Right? Is the pain only in this area? Right? So how do we assess pain through this type of lens when we're not understanding the person? So give you another example. You feel it mentally, which again comes back to all over, right? But pain in itself on a physical lens radiates in a certain area of where the injury is. But mental and emotional pain, the entire body is hurting. Like it has disrupted your sleep pattern, women's menstrual cycles, your appetite, your moods, your behaviors. So many things are affected by that pain. But we still, as a healthcare system, does not understand how to treat invisible pain, right? The weight of invisible pain and how those pains manifest themselves. Miss Cindy, let's just go 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I only got 2 more minutes with you. All right, right there. There you go. Go one back. You went 11. All right, so take a look at the slide, everybody, and I want you to just think within yourself, right? Do we truly understand what pain is? And I know Miss Cindy and I were talking earlier about the cultural aspects of pain, right? How pain is different for cultures, how pain is treated differently. If you go into the emergency room right now and you have 3 different cultures walking in that emergency room, 2 of them are going to be treated a whole lot better and a whole lot different than one particular culture, right? That's the reality. There is a culture of us who've had generational trauma for centuries that has not been addressed. Today, that pain is manifesting today in ways that our system still does not know how to address. And so we're throwing medications, we're throwing all these things towards the symptoms, but the reality is we're not going to the root, right? We're not going to what has caused and is causing the pain. So we're creating more pain than we're actually, right? We're creating more pain and suffering. So you have a lot more of us who are really struggling and we don't even know how to explain how we're feeling. So when we say I have a headache, but what's causing your headache? How long have you had the headache? Is it a migraine or a headache? You know, and then we start going all to these things. But the question is, okay, you're in pain. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how does it feel to you? How does it feel to you? How would you explain it? How do you deal with it? Because we have to look at this from a person-centered approach. All of us are in this room right now. And the exact same thing could happen to every single one of us in here, and we would all react differently. We would all feel it differently. But if we have a system that we're all going into the system and we're all being triaged the same, we're all being diagnosed the same, our symptoms are being addressed the same, it's not the same. It's not the same. So now we're carrying this heavy weight of pain that is disrupting our lifestyles. It's disrupting both physical and psychological. It's disrupting family life, health, work, school, church, all these things coming out of the pain that we're going through. But we're not talking about pain. So years ago, you heard about the opioid crisis, right? Yeah. There was all this big hoo-ha about the opioid crisis. It wasn't an opioid crisis. It was a pain crisis that opioids were used to try to suppress the pain that people were going through. I went into the emergency room. I was in so much pain, I couldn't even see straight. And you know what they did? They treated me in the emergency room and they sent me home without pain meds. And they said, sir, if your pain level goes over the 10 that you say, you need to come back to the emergency room to get pain meds. And I said, hold on, wait a minute. So you're trying to tell me my pain level is a 15 and I can't even see properly. You want me to come back to the emergency room, spend 10 hours in the emergency room because the cocktail you're going to give me takes about 10 to 12 hours to bring my pain level down to a 5. And then when it gets to a 5, you send me home. And then I get home and my pain level goes up to 10 and go. And so the opioid crisis created a much bigger challenge than we realized. And so I say to this, there are 5 liquor stores in every block in New York City. 5 liquor stores. There's one hospital.
So during COVID.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh my God. I'm glad she said it. They were not closed during COVID, right? Right. They were, thank you very much, right? Have you ever heard someone say we have an alcohol crisis? Have you ever heard that? Okay, any John Wick fans in here? You're a John Wick fan, right? John got beaten up and he got stabbed, shot, all that he was going through. The doctor comes in, the doctor is stitching him up, and the doctor says to him, do you need something for the pain? What did he do? He held up the glass and he said, no, I've got that covered. He said, no, I've got that covered. A lot of people didn't realize, you know, it's a movie, but if you think deeper, it's the reality of what a lot of us do when we're having bad days or we're not feeling good, we're stressed out. Hey, I need a glass of wine or drink a couple of beers or whatever. So you're looking at the symptom, but we're not looking at what caused you to feel that way or what's pushing you to feel that way or what turned you into an alcoholic or a substance user. We're quick to label people as addicts, right? We're quick to label them in these labels that are so derogatory, but no one is actually looking at what was the pain that triggered this and where did this come from? So this is what I want you to take away, because I know time is of the essence for us. If we're in pain, and I'm not talking about pain, I'm talking about pain. I'm talking about a pain that makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm talking about a pain that you fear yourself, the way you're feeling. I'm talking about a pain that even make you don't even want to talk to Jesus no more. I'm talking about a pain that you blame God. How do you have me in this pain? I'm suffering, I'm struggling, I'm talking about that pain. If you are in that pain, if you are struggling with that pain, what are you doing? And how are you taking care of yourself? Because 2 things, you're either taking care of the pain or the pain is taking care of you. It's one or the other. And so now you have to decide on what am I going to do to come out on the good side of this. I'm not against medication. I'm not. There are a lot of times where you do need medication. But I also know that a high probability of treating a mental pain that causes physical would be better done if we got to why the person is feeling the pain rather than trying to treat the symptoms of the pain. And that's what we do. A lot of people who are suicidal, they just want the pain to stop. They just want to be out of pain. They just want the pain. Think about this. Think of the worst pain you've ever felt and feel that pain 24 hours a day. What would you do? So when we hear people talk about, oh, I just want to die, I don't want to be, all you're hearing about the death, but you're not thinking about how much pain that person is in, how heavy is that pain the person is carrying. So right now, let me share this with you. We have 4 to 10-year-old children that are suicidal. 4 to 10-year-old children that are talking about not wanting to be here anymore. 4 to 10-year-old children who are going to be taken to the emergency room and given a psychiatric evaluation, an adult psychiatric evaluation, and adult medication. So we need to talk about pain, right? We need to have a very serious conversations, not a conversation, but ongoing conversations about what are the pains that's aching us and what are we doing to help and to heal and to release the pain that we're going through, because we're not in a good place right now. We really aren't. And so it behooves us in everything that we do to have this conversation. Okay, have this conversation. So I want to say thank you for it because I know time and I said 3 minutes, I gave it to you in 3.2 seconds, but that's good. But you understand why we need to have this conversation a little bit deeper, right? I mean, it is very scary what we're seeing and we're not talking about it in places that we should. Yes, sir.
No.
Yeah. I hear you, my brother. I hear it.
I'm one who likes to discuss the thing.
Mhm.
I've been to the baby, and the way I believe it, it's like volunteering service,
Mhm.
and all that. Right now, I just lost my last sibling.
Oh, wow.
Abroad. And that was, it came at a time where I was going through some other issues.
Mhm.
So I know exactly what it is, like in terms of pain.
Right.
There's a time that, you have to have how much more I could take.
Mhm.
But thanks God, the church, it's one, pray, and then I just go and believe it, and people still are running around. Some people that will see you everywhere.
Right.
Here and here, from here and there.
Right.
That's one of my way of
Dealing with the pain.
dealing with it, because I'm thinking about it.
Right.
And you say at night, yes,
Yeah.
that's when, I should over the last months. So like my sleeping habit
Changed. Yep.
Brother was going through.
Yep.
It was a bad situation, but then I also had a situation, situation, so I was like, sometimes I stayed in the night.
Mhm.
But then, every once in a while, I just crash.
Right.
I come from a meeting, and I sit there, listen to the news, I'm gone.
Right.
So it affects your body,
Mhm.
really, really bad. And you don't like the energy level is gone.
Right.
But, just, I have a stomach, so I can drink it.
Right. Turn out in your favor. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my, I going into the, helping out every people, and that's why I ask, you need help with it, you need help with that.
Right.
People organizations, I even wonder,
Mhm.
do they think, am I being too pushy?
To help, to keep helping. Yeah.
So I really appreciate what your discussion today.
Thank you.
It really hit me
Mhm.
personal, because even in fact, my brother died Halloween night. He never forget it. Because I was a journey and I went the morning, and the first thing I reported that my brother passed away, my last sibling.
Yeah.
And the court officer, she went to spoke to the judge, and then they called me. And I thought they were going to let me have the case.
Mhm.
But the first thing after he expressed his condolences, he asked me, does he have a wife? Does he have children?
Wow.
And the next thing he said, well, stay in the case.
Mhm.
If you feel that you not can concentrate at the same at any time, please let me know.
Yeah.
As soon as because I was debating if I go home and then might be something. But yeah, but the fact that he just said it like that, the first thing that's to hear, but like cold hearted.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I really thought that and they were going to do it, then they go.
I do a presentation on sleep and the importance of sleep, that 95% of us are not sleeping well, we're not resting, the second stages of sleep, all of that. And people leave that presentation mind blown, like I didn't even know that sleep was so important, or the value that we should put in sleep, or the fact that they wake up, they get full night's sleep but wake up tired and all of that. But this is why I was saying, and thank you to Miss Cindy and Mr. Maka, we have to have these conversations because we're doing so much on the symptoms, right? And we're doing so much to treat the symptoms or address the symptoms, but the basic core human things are not being addressed. And just the perfect example of what you went through. How could someone even think to say something like that? Is because, again, as a society, you're just expected to keep going. Forget what you're going through. Forget how you're feeling. This is what you need to do, and you need to continue doing it. So we got to change that. So I want to say thank you, Ms. Cindy. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Yes. Great. We may not have time.
We don't have time. Yeah, you guys can put whatever program updates you have in the chat. Thank you for everyone who stayed on with us. We had a great conversation today. I'll leave the chat open for about 5 minutes. So if you wanted to just share any program updates, remember we do send out the meeting minutes with the chat box notes. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate you for participating today and have a wonderful evening. It was outside. I'll come see.